Good evening, everyone. In last night's show, we started by discussing the horrible Easter massacre, which killed more than 300 Christians in Sri Lanka and injured hundreds more. That, of course, was last Sunday. Now, we discussed the fact that by watching the mainstream media coverage of the horror, you may not have gotten the full scope of what happened and who did the attacks, who were the victims in the attacks. In fact, they've been described as people worshiping Easter. Well, of course, they were Christians, as we said yesterday, and today ISIS claimed responsibility for the radical Islamist attacks, and that's what they were. Now, the media has begrudgingly acknowledged that fact today, but in today's world, one way that we measure public reaction to a news story is by looking at how many Google searches it receives. It's kind of sad, but it's true. Now, would it shock you to know that searches for the attacks in Sri Lanka were outnumbered by searchers for the fire at Paris's Notre Dame Cathedral by 7-1? Now, keep in mind, nobody died in that fire, and no one was even allowed by the media to speculate on a cause for the blaze. Only the party line was repeated over and over again. It was an accident. So, absent of any victims of a certain religion, and absent any group being held responsible for the fire, it was the perfect story for wall-to-wall, nonstop mainstream media coverage. Now, don't get me wrong, I have tremendous respect and admiration for the history, the architectural magnificence, and most of all, the religious significance of Notre Dame's cathedral. The fire was a tragic blow to the church, to Paris, and to the world. But if it was an accident, as we've been told, how does it compare to the Sri Lanka attacks? How does it justify 7 times the Google searches? In my view, it simply doesn't. Now, make no mistake, these searches are driven by media coverage, and media coverage is driven by media bias. How many of you know that just days after the attacks in New Zealand and the mosques, scores of people were killed in the Christian village of Mishika in Nigeria by Boko Haram? Or that on February 25th, 50 were killed and 140 homes were burned in a predominantly Christian village by Fulani, the terrorists in central Nigeria. How many Google searches do you think those stories have racked up? Probably not enough to even notice, because the media elected not to tell you about those attacks. Now, it would be foolish of me to ignore certain geopolitical realities that also enter into how many times stories are Googled, viewed, and shared online. But make no mistake, internet traffic is driven by exposure. The media that cover these kinds of stories give or don't give exposure. They're driven in so many instances by their own institutionalized biases. And until that changes, and don't hold your collective breath, we will see more one-sided, lopsided, misguided search numbers on Google and elsewhere, like the 7-1 Notre Dame to Sri Lanka results. And the translation of those numbers, what people should be learning about and caring about, isn't always what they are learning about and caring about. I'm Steve Malsberg in for Rick Sanchez, and we do our part to change that right here, where it's time to do news again.
I'm Rick Sanchez. You found us on YouTube, and that's awesome. But you know what? I'm also live every night at 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern on DirecTV.
Shalom, Yasharala. I want to start out by giving infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. I want to give double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to you sincere Akim pushing this truth across the 4 winds. As you can see that clip, the guy was raving about nobody giving a damn what happened to them heathens that was bombed in that Christian church. All right? And, you know, the Most High does nothing without revealing his secrets to the servants, the prophets, man. And all of these things that we're seeing going around the planet, terrorist attacks, churches getting bombed, so on and so forth, all right, it's just a precursor of what's to come. That's small potatoes. But not to go offside on the topic, those heathens that was in that whorehouse was in the Christian church, which is born out of the Catholic Church, the false prophet. And it was nothing but heathens in there, but when you look at that church, it's nothing but our people in that Christian church. It's billions of Israelites in there. So the Most High is just giving us a glimpse of what's going to happen to the people that is in that Christian church. These so-called Baptists, Methodists, non-denominational so-called churches where the majority of Jake dwell. And it's just a domino effect. These Creflo Dollars, mega churches and shit, they going to be getting blown to smithereens. Those things are going to happen because the Heavenly Father is going to let his judgment go forth to everybody that's in that madness. He don't give a fuck about the heathens. He cares about the Israelites that's lost in that madness. All right, this is Psalms 96:3. Declare his glory among the heathen. Those were heathens that was in there getting their ass blown apart to smithereens. And the Most High is showing his glory, his power, and his majesty by letting these things happen. The Most High killeth and maketh alive. He bring down and raiseth up. Okay? His wonders among all people. All right? For Yahweh is great and greatly to be praised, and he is feared above all gods. All right, and before it's over, every nation under the sun is going to fear Yahweh Bashem Awashai. Every nation under the sun, every human being that's alive when our great king comes back is going to bow down and say Yahweh Shai is Lord. Okay? For all the gods of the nations are idols, all right? And our people are stuck in that modern day Christianity. That same thing that's going to happen to them, that happened to those people in Sri Lanka and the Fulani, they Israelites too over there in Nigeria. They lost in that Islam shit. They going to get whacked too, okay? And all those Israelites that are in Nigeria lost in that Christian madness, all right? These are precursors to come to the things that's going to happen to people that's in their whorehouse, all right? And the scriptures say that the gods of the nations are idols. The penalty for dealing with idolatry is death, and you can see it, all right? But the Yahweh made the heavens, all right? There's only one true living power, and that's Yahweh Bashem Awashai, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay? And if you're not in his servitude synchronizing with his word, you are an enemy. And we are seeing, when you look at that clip, what happens to his enemies. Nobody gives a fuck when they die. All right, not the men of the Lord. Not the world take care of its own, but the men of the Lord don't. But in this, the Most High is putting that putting that veil over the world where they don't give a fuck. The scriptures say in the last days that the love of many will wax cold. Nobody give a fuck about Christianity. Everybody knows it's a joke, modern day Christianity. This is Jeremiah 16, verse 4. And it reads, this is what we just saw. They shall die of grievous deaths. And this is what's going to happen to the Israelites. All right, I'm just likening it to these heathens because these Israelites are lost in the same thing those heathens were. They are lost in modern day Christianity. So if it's happening to the heathens, how much the Israelites? Because the Israelites are the one that's committed adultery against the Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai, not them heathens. He's just giving the ones that he's going to bring out of that fold and look, if you stay in there, this is what's going to happen to you. And he used them heathens as an example. All right? They shall not be lamented. Nobody crying for them. Then he say nobody crying for them. Nobody cared about that. They shall die grievous deaths and they shall not be lamented. That's what we seeing. Neither shall they be buried. All right? How you going to bury body parts blown in smithereens? But when it comes to America, all of these calamities we see going on throughout the planet, you got uproars amongst the people. You got people trying to overthrow and topple governments. All right, you got people going out protesting. All right, you got governments coming down on the peoples. All right, all of these things that we seeing amongst the people, all of that's going to come to Babylon here in America, and it's going to be worse than it is across the planet. All right, because this is where prophecy has to be fulfilled. Okay, and prophecy is going to be fulfilled across the planet, but over here, you still got so-called order. You still got cops rolling. You still got society rolling the way it's supposed to be ran. All right? That's going to stop. And these are the things what we're going to see. We're going to see bombings. We're going to see pestilence, famine, so on and so forth. And no one's going to lament. And this is what's going to happen to that Christian dirt, because judgment started at the house of Yasharallah first. Okay? So what you seeing happen to those damn heathens in Sri Lanka is going to happen to you Negroes, Native Americans, and Latin-speaking people of the earth that's lost in that Catholicism and that modern-day Christianity, because it's hell. That's all it is. It's hell, it's lies, it's fallacies. Okay? Neither shall they be buried, but they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth. Nobody's going to bury you. Nobody's going to cry for you. And your corpse is going to rot on the earth. All right? This is prophecy that's going to be fulfilled. All right? And they shall be consumed by the sword. A bomb is a representation of a sword. All right? But when you look at that movie, The First Purge, the niggas that was in that Christianity church, the Most High, giving you the signs, that First Purge was a spiritual movie. That was a precursor of things to come. Them damn devils went in that damn church and just whacked everybody, okay? The Most High didn't defend them. He didn't protect them. When they went into that church, they killed everybody, okay? And by famine, and their carcass shall be meat for the fowls of the heaven and the beasts of the earth. This is the judgment for people committing idolatry against Yahweh B'Shem Shai. Okay? We'll go over a few more precepts, a few more chapters, Salakia. This is Jeremiah 5. I'm going to start at verse 7. How shall I pardon thee for this? Thy children have forsaken me and swore about them that are no gods. All right? So when you're in modern day Christianity, man, you're swearing by foreign powers, man. All right, just to, that Catholicism incorporated other gods in that doctrine, like Easter. That's the fertility god Ishtar. That's the one that Solomon went astray following. All right, you go to Christmas. That's Saturnalia. That was a Greek hell day that the Roman and Greeks kept. And they just had a debaucherous week, a festival of sodomy, pedophilia, just all manner of wickedness, all right? This is what our people are following, all right? The secular world has Halloween, but in the modern day Christian church, they got something called Fall Festival. That's them still keeping that hell day, man. Halloween and Fall Festival is one of the same. You still keeping those foreign power, serving those foreign deities, those foreign powers, man. Okay? A person that's in modern day Christianity is no different than a person in this world, man. In fact, at least a person in this world, they have more integrity because they're not living a lie. The same people that's in the club wilding out, doing all manner of wickedness under the sun, all right, those are the same people that you're going to go in and see in the modern day Christianity church. All right, there's no difference between them. All right, it's just a congregation of hypocrites and adulterers. All right. And when I fed them to the full, they then committed adultery and assembled themselves by the troops in the harlot house. The Most High likened modern day Christianity church to a harlot house because he told us he don't dwell in temples made by the hands of men, according to Acts 7:48. All right, the church is the people. Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. So when you go to these buildings, it's just nothing but harlotry and adultery that goes on there. That's why our great king called them a perverse, adulterous generation, man. All right? So it's imperative that you get out of there. What you seen happen to them heathens is going to come over here and happen in America, man. The Most High is going to come down on you modern day Christians with great wrath, unmerciful, man. And you so-called Negroes, Native Americans, and Latin-speaking people on the planet that's lost in there, it's going to happen to you first and foremost because judgment is going to start at the house of Yasharallah first, according to the book of Peter, man. All right? They were as fed horses in the morning. Everyone neighed after his neighbor wife. All right? That's what goes on in Christianity, man. The pastor is fucking the deacon's wife. The deacon is fucking another man that's in the choir. You got punks in the choir, and the deacon fucking the punks in the choir. All right? And then in the congregation, everybody just fucking everybody. All right? Just nothing but adultery going on in that place, man. That's complete madness, man. Everybody named after everybody's spouse, man. That's what going on in modern day Christianity, man. And that's what you see. The Most High gonna let them get blown to smithereens, pestilence. He gonna let Al Qaeda and all of them come in there and behead their ass, saw their heads off, cut off their limbs. All right, these are the things that's gonna happen. It's a precursor of what's to come. All right, and nobody's going to lament for him. Shall I not visit for these things? All right? You see how he going to visit their asses too. You see how he get down. You see how he visit their ass. Well, fire and brimstone, man. All right. Where was I? All right, here I go. Saith Yahweh Shema Shah, shall not my soul be on venge of such a nation as this? All right. Now those were heathens, you know. I gotta, and then Israel is as the sand of the sea. We scattered amongst the nation. You probably had some confusion to face Israelites in there, because our people are taken up with Cedro Bozier. They love Cedro Bozier, Jesus Christos. I mean, they can't see past his ass, man. All right. Go ye upon her walls and destroy, but make not a full end. Take away her betterments. They are not of Yahweh Shema Shai. For the house of Israel and the house of Judah dealt treacherously against me, saith Yahweh. All right? And the house of Judah and the house of Israel, they are lost in modern day Christianity. So what you see happen to them heathens is going to happen to these Israelites over here in America, lost in the Christianity madness, okay? Easter egg hunts and shit, getting Christmas present, that Serapis Christus worship, man, and what Nimrod and his mama Semiramis, whatever that bitch name is, man. That's all that is, man. Ancient deities, all right, ancient deities, man. Heathenism, paganism, all right. Verse 12, they have belied Yahweh Shema Shai and said, it is not he, neither shall evil come upon us. That's what Christians say. I'm saved, I'm sanctified, highly favored. No weapon against me shall prosper, formed against me shall prosper. That's how they talk. That's how they talk, but they are bewitched. They are bewitched. Okay? Neither shall we see sword or famine. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Look at God. Won't he do it? That's the shit they say. I grew up in that madness. Look at God. Won't he do it? The Most High is not dealing with these people, man. And that's how they think. That's why when a calamity come, it's gonna blindside them, because they're gonna learn that they was bewitched and lied to. Okay? And the prophets shall become wind, T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar, and the word is not in them. Thus shall it be done unto them. Wherefore, thus saith Yahweh Shema Shai, the power of hosts, because you speak the word, behold, I will make my words in our mouth fire, and this people wood, and it shall devour them. And that's what the prophets are doing in these last days, seconds, and times, man. We're telling them the truth of the scriptures, and we're pronouncing judgment, and we're telling them what's going to happen before. All right? They have no excuse. That's why when that judgment come down, it's going to be merciless, no grace. They will find no place of repentance, man, because they reject Yahweh Shema Shai. Our great king say when they reject you, they reject me. And when they reject me, they reject him that sent me. So when our Heavenly Father cast down that judgment, all right, it's going to be merciless. They have no excuse. All right? And this is prophecy been fulfilled. All right? This was said this day would come, that our people would be lost in the madness. All right, this is 1 Timothy 4, chapter 4, verse 1. Now the Spirit speaks expressly, and the Spirit is the words and the doctrine of Yahweh Shema Shai, that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith. All right, and that's what we're seeing. Our people lost in that madness. The last days was 2,000 years ago when our great king walked the earth. And when Paul and the apostles was teaching, pushing out that doctrine of life, the apostles' doctrine. Okay? Those when the last days started, all right. And people departed from the faith when Jerusalem fell, man. When we went into Africa, we started becoming Moors, got converted to Islam, going off over there. Even when we took down Rome, in the Council of Nicaea in 300 AD, man. It was Jakes that incorporated that pagan madness into the doctrine. We went off right after our great king and the prophets died, man. Even after a little bit after Jerusalem was besieged, man. When we took down Rome, we started going off, man. All right. Where was I? Giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. And that's that Catholic doctrine. Modern day Christianity is birthed out of the Catholic Church. And it's seducing spirits. The book of Revelation called the Catholic Church the false prophet who will be thrown into the lake of fire, man. And it's madness, man. So it's imperative, man, you brothers, man, come out of that truth, come out of that modern day Christianity church. Are you going to drink of the cup that this heathen's going to drink of, that he's going to partake in? So with that, I want to give infinite honors to Yahweh Shem Shai. I want to give double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. And salutation to my fellow laborers. You sincere brothers pushing this truth across the four winds. Kwame Yasharala, Abba, Abba.